Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Let's go, Mets.
Don't say that shit.
I
It's fucked up.
All right, Steve, you want to
didn't
go
put up a
first?
box, so I have no questions.
Way to go, Marina. Thank you for your contribution. We appreciate it.
I never get any anyways.
That's because you put it up at 5 o'clock.
You should do it in your WhatsApp group and tell people like you have to ask questions, and I bet you they'll do it.
That's so smart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Smart. I'm
I'll
pretty
do that.
intelligent. Go ahead, Steve. You want to kick us off and do all your questions?
Yeah, or you want to go 1 for 1?
Well, why don't you do all your questions? I'll do all mine. I just think it works smoother that way.
All right. My first. So this one was from last week. It was, how do you set up a peak week for a client and what goes into it?
Oh God, I hate these questions so much.
Me too. That's why I didn't ask it last week.
Yeah, lots of stuff, lots of stuff, lots of stuff. Next question.
What the fuck? We're not going to answer any of it.
There's a lot of stuff go into it. Rest. I mean, primary shit that goes into a peak week is fucking rest, reducing inflammation. There's nothing else that you're gonna do from a fat loss perspective. And depending on the category, you need to either focus on fullness, rock hard conditioning, or a mixture of the both.
Fair enough. Um, how do you advise a client on getting better quality sleep?
First, establish what's causing issues as far as sleep is concerned, and try to reverse engineer from there. And then, obviously, supplements could be a big help there. That's one of those places that I think it's like an easy, low hanging fruit is adding in some supplements to be able to help somebody get sleep right now. Sleep is one of those things that's integral on a day to day basis, especially for the things that we do in terms of training, cardio, dieting, all that different stuff. Sleep needs to come before all of that, right? You don't have any business training if you didn't sleep the night before. Sleep, I think people get in their head and they think, oh, I trained today, so I need sleep tonight. It's no, you need to sleep last night in order to train today, right? The recovery comes first. So at the end of the day, I think it's important to make sure that you take advantage of what's available for you there. And that's where some supplements will come in. But again, those supplements are going to be better prescribed, right? If we know what the issue with the sleep is to begin with, right?
Mhm.
Like, if somebody just have a racing mind, then maybe something like L-theanine, magnesium to be able to slow that down. Is somebody like waking up at 3 a.m. every night because their cortisol's through the roof, then maybe an anti-cortisol product, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I messaged this person back and I just asked in regards to sleep, like, are they having issues falling asleep? Are they having issues staying asleep? Are they having issues getting enough sleep, right? And then this person told me they're just like they watch TV before they go to bed. So I
Mhm.
messaged her back and I said, well, you should try just being in a dark, cool room, no screen time, at least an hour. Yes. Jesus. Um, so they said, that they just don't go to bed early enough. Yeah, yes, come here. Jeez. My God.
Hi, V. Oh, she can't hear me.
hello.
Look, her little Jess. Spooky season.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. So the sleep environment's a big one
I
too.
like
Yeah.
to
Sleep
call it also
hygiene.
sleep, yeah, sleep hygiene. Like you know how you'd never get into bed with like dirty socks? Like maybe clean socks. I sleep in socks sometimes, but you wouldn't put your dirty ass socks under
Okay,
your
boy.
covers. You shouldn't have your phone in bed. You shouldn't have, I don't know, like the same idea of like the socks. It's like you shouldn't have certain things in bed. And I think having boundaries around sleep time is really important and around your bedroom as
100%.
well. If you're someone that works in bed or does homework in bed, stop that shit. Bed should just be for sleeping. You shouldn't be able to relate anything like super, I guess, like awakey, like making to-do lists or working. You shouldn't be doing that in bed.
Yeah, and then
No.
obviously, Caroline's a client of mine that's here too, and like that was one thing that we've had to work on for her big time to see an improvement in her blood work recently was making sure that we took care of her sleep as far as prioritizing her sleep, right? Like, so there's certain people that I have, we know Matt is like this, who's typically on the podcast with us, where it's sleep is something that's getting interrupted by that morning routine, and it's like they might have to be at work at whatever 7 a.m. They don't want to go to the gym after work, so they're waking up at 4 a.m. every morning to be able to go to the gym. But the reality is, again, you look at a guy like Matt, he's going to bed every night at fucking 8:30 at night. 9 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? He's not losing any sleep in order to wake up and do that.
No.
Whereas other people are still waking up at 4 a.m., but they're going to bed at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And now they're truncating that sleeping window, and they build this routine with it. They build this normalcy around it to where for them, they push through the fatigue. They push through all that initial kind of like, again, symptoms that they might feel from that. And now it's become so normal to them that they don't even recognize these things anymore. And it's like, dude, you don't even notice it until you get to the point where blood work comes back bad. You're not losing fat in a fat loss phase. You're not building muscle in a muscle building phase. And again, you need to start to look at that and prioritize things again a little bit differently, whether it's the sleep hygiene that we're talking about or even moving things around. Like Caroline saying here, I won't let her go to the gym in the morning anymore prior to work. Like she's either got to go after work or she's got to go on the weekends or minimize the amount of days she's training because obviously sleep has to come first. Oh, Jesus, my headphones, Vienna, my headphones, they're going to explode.
Wrestling a 2-year-old.
The messed up thing is before the podcast, I was telling Marina stop screaming in my ears because my earphones were so high. And Marina was just talking at a regular level, but I'm like, my earphones are so high, it sounds like you're screaming in my ear.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, dude.
Oh my God.
It's a baby.
She's been having a rough day. She was like beating kids up at daycare, apparently. She fucked 4 kids up.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like your daughter.
I used to hit kids as a kid.
You don't hit anybody now, though. So
you don't know that. You don't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I just know how soft.
That's why she moved to North Carolina. She's trying to evade the law.
I know how soft society is. So you'd be in jail if you were hitting people.
This is true.
All right. What's next?
How do you drop water weight before a show? Most typically the day prior. I have a show next week, and I feel like I'm retaining water. Just fucking overdose on diazide.
Don't use words like overdose. We're gonna get kicked off.
Oh my God.
I would say honestly, if you're really, are you retaining water or are you fat? Because those are two totally different things.
So that I didn't want to message the person. I asked obviously like what they looked like or anything because I don't know if they have a coach, who it is, or anything. I don't even know where the fuck this person is from. But yeah, I was gonna say like, are you just not in shape or are you retaining water? Right, 2 completely different things. If you're not in shape, you're not going to get in shape in a week, right? And you need to get in shape first. If you are in shape and you're retaining water, a lot of things. Where's stress levels at? Are you training too much, right? Too hard still? Or you just have too much volume in there? Where's your cardio at? Are you doing too much cardio? How's your sleep, right? Are you on drugs? What drugs are you on, right? Some of them could be impeding your sleep as well. Also too, as crazy as it sounds, your food might still be just too low and your body's just giving signs that it's just, completely tanked and depleted, right? And, are you getting refeeds? Right? How often, right? What are they at? Like, there's so much that could go into this question, right? I think the simple answer would be, the simple scenario here would be you're just out of shape. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it could be. If you're really retaining water, though, I mean, that's what peak week is about. Peak week is about dropping inflammation, dropping stress factors, starting to remove some of the compounds. If you haven't yet, removing things like GH, you're removing yohimbine, you're removing these things that could potentially make you retain water. And then again, you're continuing to do that into peak week, maybe even reducing or tapering things like testosterone, adding in the higher dosages of anti-aromatase that might help with that. And then again, as you go through that peak week, you're probably going to make some nutritional changes too. Sometimes it's about bringing food up, right? Sometimes about adding particular things throughout the course of the week, depending on the person, how much they're retaining, to be able to start that flushing process, manipulating water, manipulating minerals. And then you get to show day, or I should say they asked specifically about prior to show day, are you somebody that needs a diuretic based on how much water you retain? Even regardless of popular belief nowadays, because I've seen it here recently and people we've talked about, we've talked about this on the Every Calorie Counts podcast with other coaches too. There are coaches out there right now that are saying that there's no such thing as somebody that needs a diuretic, that never exists. It's just a matter of the reality is you didn't get that person lean enough. Nobody actually needs a diuretic is what they're saying. I think that's bullshit, especially with the people that we've seen and worked with. Like, I think that there's always going to be some people that need a diuretic are going to look better with a diuretic. So, deciding that for yourself on that Friday and then, utilizing what type of diuretic you're going to utilize, when you're going to utilize, how much you're going to utilize, always comes back down to that, day before. But again, that's going to be different for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most cardio you've had somebody do?
I don't know. I try not to go too crazy with the cardio. I think cardio only inhibits performance when it's too high. I think it can cause some, obviously we know the benefits of cardio, but there's pros and cons there. You know what I mean? So I try to stay away from where I can, but I can tell you right, 2 hours is something that I've definitely had people do before. I don't think that that's necessarily crazy, but I've had people do an hour and a half to 2 hours. Riley's one that has to do a shit ton of cardio.
Yep, me too.
This prep.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think the girls that just did Big Cat, I think I had them. I think Gabby I had up to 2 hours, but it was literally for a week, right? It was just to break through, like I guess one would call like a plateau for lack of a better word, whatever. And then I dropped it back down and it worked. You know what I mean? But I also had her volume. All three of them greatly reduced at a point. You know what I mean? Around like 4 to 6 weeks out. So I don't think it's something that is a sustainable thing because, like you said, it's just going to take performance down. Also, too, it could affect sleep. Too. A ton and just keep stressing the body out in an already stressed state. So I think if it's something you have to get up like, to 2 hours for like a week or two, maybe three, something around that. I mean,
Temporarily is the key.
temporarily, right? But I could see between an hour and a half being pretty steady for like a good 6 to 8 weeks for sure.
Yeah, I think that's to me that's what it comes down to. It's like I always try to tell people like cardio is that thing that we toggle in and we toggle out as needed.
Yep.
And it's not needed every day through prep. For most people, it's just not.
No, like, and Tim too, like, me, I was talking about these clients preps together and stuff more in depth. Like a lot of these girls were the three girls that did Big Cat. All their cardio was pretty much non-existent on their refeeds. You know what I mean? And that was like 2 days a week, and then on an off day, there was an off day a week where they weren't doing any cardio at all, but steps. So it was like they were really only being pushed with cardio 4 days a week, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Their high days were maybe 30 to 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think 2 hours being temporary works for some people just to kind of break through and get like that extra level of leanness you need.
Right.
I think if you had somebody do that for like 2 months straight, I don't even think they'd get in shape. I think they would just be stressed the fuck out.
Yeah, I think they look like shit is what would happen.
Mhm.
So, I had two drug questions, and then that was all I had. So, what
Can we say PEDs instead of DRUGs?
do you think we're really get kicked off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had two PED questions.
What do you mean? I think we get kicked off every single week? Literally every single week we get kicked off. Do I think we're gonna? Yes, I absolutely do.
I'm a nice guy. I'm just trying to be wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Positivity.
the first one I had was, do you always use orals in a prep for a male athlete, whether it's a bodybuilder, classic physique, or men's physique?
No, not always, but I'll be honest though. I do think that it brings a very, very that would I think that there's a look that's involved, especially with particular compounds, like Winnie, like Anadrol, sometimes Superdrol is my preferred one there. But like I think there's some of these compounds that bring very, very particular looks that I think is only going to support that person's chances on the stage. Is there reasons why? I can't think of a reason why I wouldn't use one. Maybe we get blood work done at like 4 to 6 weeks out, and their liver enzymes are already through the effing roof, and maybe like we're worried about. I've never had that happen. Like I can't think of a scenario where I'm choosing not to use those. Proviron's another one. Good call, Mark. But like I can't think of a scenario where I'm like purposely choosing not to do that. Does that make sense? That I'm like, why?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like what would be the scenario that unless somebody was like, hey, I don't, why would somebody have an ethical reason there either? You know what I mean? Like that's the only other thing I can come up with. Like, why would they be asking this question? I guess would be my question to this question.
My guess is their blood work's probably all fucked up and they still want to use the orals and they just want.
Yeah, but then you could still add it like Proviron. If your blood work's already going to be messed up, like again, Mark brings up a good point. Like something like a Proviron, it's not going to mess them up any. It's
more.
That would be the least of my concerns at that point. You know what I mean? Compared to everything else around the jack up the blood work to begin with.
Oh,
if anything, you could probably start pulling certain things down, add in something like Proviron, and probably get a favorable result. You know what I mean?
Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. I just think the value of the orals is primarily in that position where like as opposed to the off season or any other place, which again, I'm not the one that's going to argue with somebody there. I think everything has its purpose in certain places. And again, to me, orals, like their highest level of purpose would be pre-contest.
I agree. Yeah. So, yeah, I know we've had multiple conversations. I don't think any of us know, either one of us don't use them in the off season much at all.
I mean, I do. I absolutely do.
Yeah, but you
I
don't
love
push it,
oral.
is what I'm saying.
Left and right, baby. I get bottles like that that are like 350 and I'm just fucking handfuls of them. But yeah.
So Mark made a good point here, right?
Hey, Mark,
Provide,
yeah.
push it up to like 250. With I did that with Brandon this past week. Well, not 250, but his went up to 150. But he also not on Trent or Winnie yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he will be for Easterns.
There you go.
Um,
God bless.
and then my last question was about Trent. What is a typical Trent dose, and when does the dose of Trent become too in quotes too much?
Again, yeah, go ahead.
So so I was just say perfect example. Like I just said, a client, he wasn't on Trend for a show. Right now he has 5 weeks. I'm going to put him on it next week for 4 weeks out, but he's already in shape. I never put Trend too high with individuals. I do like to have individuals dose Trend at like an everyday type thing, especially like 4 to 6 weeks out. Like if we start it then, I typically won't put somebody on it for more than 8 weeks, like max. I typically find if you can get somebody in a really good spot, you can hold off on something like that for 4 to 6 weeks, especially because a lot of people just get fucked up in the head from it, right? So,
Mhm.
I think 20 to 25 mgs max a day does more than the job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would second a lot of that, and then I'm anywhere between 100 to 300 milligrams. I just think, yeah,
A
100
week,
milligrams is
right?
that place. Yeah, I think 100 milligrams is that place where most people are going to be fine in terms of the side effects and probably benefit more than not from it
Yep.
at that stage in prep in terms of the benefits that you're going to get there. But but again, I would be lying if I said I wouldn't try to push sometimes up to that, or most times, honestly, up to that 300 milligram mark, depending on the athlete, depending on how much tissue they have, how much tissue we're trying to preserve, where they're at as far as their performance levels are concerned, and all that different stuff.
Yeah. So like,
But again, I'm actually more on the very conservative side of that. Like I know dosage wise, everybody's like 100 milligrams. Now you got to be 10 milligrams per serving, or you're killing everybody.
right.
But at the end of the day, for me, I'm more on the duration side of this and the low side of this, where I'll usually wait until about 4 weeks out. Especially if somebody's like you said, they're already in good shape. We're already in a good spot as far as the way we're looking and everything. I'll typically wait until 4 weeks out to add in the Trend because again, I think that's where it's going to be most beneficial anyway.
Yep.
So yeah, so that way, even if we are at a little bit of a higher dosage, it's bearable. And then we're still taking into consideration. I think the biggest thing that people forget when they're talking about that duration side of things is, they're like, I'm going to put it in 4 weeks out. It's like cool, but you're also doing, nationals. That is, whatever, 8 weeks away from this show. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you got to make sure that you time it right per your season as well, which you could always take it in and take it out. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to run it all the way through, that's a consideration too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, I think like you start somebody at 10 to 15 milligrams per day, most people will find that that's just plenty. You know what I mean? Like that's going to do the job and not fuck your head up tremendously. It's also not going to mess your sleep up
Yeah.
too bad.
I'm one of those ones where I've always loved Trend. I mean, I love it in terms of the results, but it doesn't mess with my head as much. Right. And when I say that, I mean, obviously, I think everybody kind of notices like the aggression and like the lower level of tolerance that you have for certain situations, but that's never been a big issue for me. I think the biggest issue for me is the sleep. The quality of sleep is just horrific. And
Yeah. Oh,
then
for sure.
acid reflux is fucking horrific for me on Trend. Like the only time I really get it bad is then, and it's horrific. And then um, the my blood pressure just like through the goddamn roof.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I walk around
What did
purple.
Mark say? I like the daily do. Yeah. So Mark, like I said, if we can get somebody to hold off until like that 4 week out mark to start it, that daily dose of like me and Tim said, 10 to 25 a day, or like is I think just money. I think that also that daily dose I have found I've been I think we discussed this too, Tim, like on like side conversations with Test. I had to switch from Sus, which I used for years, to Test E. I've been only on like pretty much HRT for the last couple of years anyway, but I've had to switch from Sus to E because of my anxiety. I felt Sus was just like going up then down. Anxiety was good for a day, then horrible for 2 or 3. And then Test E, I found just literally doing 15 to 20 milligrams per day. My anxiety is like spot on, and I don't have like any crazy up and down on the mood, So
Yeah. At that point, I really like to have people doing the frequency. I think is important at that point anyway. You know what I mean? Because obviously you want to try to minimize volume as best you can as far as the injection load. And once you're getting closer to the show, you got to start to be careful with that stuff. So I think it's just better to have somebody on that path. At that once you're adding in trend, whatever 8, 6, 4 weeks out anyway.
Yep, absolutely. That's all I had.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. How many questions did you get?
My question. Let me pull them up here. I only have a few. Oh, I just minimized it, son of a bitch. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right.
If I recommended an anime show, will you watch it?
No.
No. Probably not. Listen, I would say this is one of my clients too, and he knows I'm a nerd. I'm a big I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm a big sci-fi guy in general. Like I'm a pretty much I'm a pretty big nerd with some of that stuff, but I can't do anime. I can't. I don't know why. I can't do anime.
No,
I've never watched anime.
I'm the adult that will watch cartoons. Like I'll sit there and watch Rick and Morty while I'm stoned for fucking 6 hours straight. But like I can't do anime. Can't do it. Can't do it.
The hell are you smoking that you're stoned for 6 hours straight?
No, I mean I'm smoking for 6 hours straight. Just days. No, I'm only kidding.
Oh wow.
So but if I were, when the kids are gone. Actually, there's a Rick and Morty anime. Actually, I don't know if anybody's seen that, but there's a Rick and Morty anime. I think on Max or something like that, and I can even watch that. Inflammatory stuff has been sold out for weeks. Who has extra?
From Astroflame? No, Jackie, it's not sold out.
Condiments, toppings, or seasonings that you don't need to get pre-approved by coach. Condiments, toppings, or seasonings that you don't have to get I think I might have added the topping myself. I don't know where I got that from. I think she just said condiments, seasonings. There was a third thing there, but I don't remember what it was. JJ, if you're on, you can.
Hot sauce, like Frank's Red Hot's fine. Sugar-free ketchup, salt, seasonings, like
any seasonings.
Yeah, multiple. There's so many.
That's not true. There's a lot of seasonings that actually do have sugar in it.
I'm saying there's tons. I was about to say tons. There's tons and tons of spices and seasonings that have no like maltodextrin or sugar, right? There's hundreds. Justin, you're a fat fuck.
But yeah, there's condiments. There's a lot of nowadays. There's a lot of different options there. And I would just say, like, be careful. Obviously, you want to look at the back, make sure there's not, you can look at the total calories. And sometimes people get carried away with that, where they're looking at it and they're like, there's only 45 calories in here. And I'm like, yeah, like, do you know how many calories are typically in a carbohydrate? You know what I mean? Like, let's like that can still be whatever, 8 grams of carbohydrates per serving or something like that. You know what I mean? So I would say just be careful, look at the actual nutrition facts there and make sure you're not taking in anything that's going to be substantive there per serving. But the typical condiments are the hot sauces, mustards, and then you have the like G Hughes is one that a lot of people use at this point. But I would say most mustards, most hot sauces are going to be pretty common there. Anything that's typically like low sugar ketchup, stuff like that. Seasonings, though, again, the only thing I would say with seasonings, just make sure there's no added sugar or be careful with the carbohydrates in general there, because again, you'll see some like the taco seasonings and stuff like that can sometimes get up there as far as carbohydrates are concerned. So if you're really like on a prep diet, you got to be careful there. Why is bone broth good for digestion? We actually did a post on this in our WhatsApp group for our clients. I don't know. I don't know if I would say bone broth is good for digestion, the actual active digestion, more than, like it's a byproduct of that, more than like your gut in general. And primarily it's and there are a few different things that you could consider there. There's actually some there's actually a couple different papers that I used to quote for that thing that we did there, but that actually show broth itself is like good for your immune system, et cetera. But as far as the bone broth being good for your gut, primarily that's going to come back to the amino acid composition, the different types of amino acids we're getting there, and the fact that they are more efficient for soft tissue than the amino acid profile that we get most commonly through our animal protein. That's going to be more efficient for your muscle tissue specifically. So again, it just helps support that soft tissue and helps support that gut lining a little bit. So kind of indirectly supports digestion by supporting a healthy overall gut. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't have, I think, collagen, right? There's a bunch of collagen in there too. So, yeah, like you said, comes back to the aminos.
I was going to pull up the group and actually go through what we put there, but I'll leave that.
I can do that.
Any new supplements that you guys have been recommending, and they didn't specify over the counter or anything like that. So any new supplements that you've been recommending? Actually, that might be good for you, Steve. You've been recommending new supplements like Metaburn.
No, I mean, it's just a non-stim fat burner. So,
no, but you're shameless plug for your new brand.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, man,
you know,
everybody order from Astroflave.
There's nothing new. Like instead of like curcumin and turmeric now and shit like that, like I'm just having them take the anti-inflammatory from Astroflave. It's nothing like I would say new. It's just a joint health supplement that has a lot more shit. Like it has chicken collagen in there and things like that. Metaburn is just a stim-free nighttime fat burner they have that has sleep aids in it as well. So it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. Besides that, nothing really. I mean, nothing like.
I don't think so. I'm messing around with this SLUPP332. Giving this a little bit of a shot.
I mean, I just overdosed on what's it called? Peptides for my knee. That worked.
Yeah, those aren't new though. I think everybody knows about that at this point.
Yeah, I just trying to think what I've used or what I've had individuals using the last like month or two. I mean, there's nothing like really new. The more I've learned about GI maps, like the more I've had like obviously all these new gut subs and stuff like that. I mean, those are pretty new, but those are like very case specific.
Yeah. And I would even say a lot of that stuff's not new too. It's just like, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I guess we're recommending it newly. But yeah, I don't know. I guess for myself, like I started like my morning thing now is like the methylene blue. I always use the brain supplement for as a nootropic, but one thing that I've been doing recently has been Cognizin in the AM, methylene blue with my coffee, and then but again, that's all for like focus and shit like that. I don't think anybody really cares about that. But
what was the question?
Yeah, I don't know. Any new supplements that you guys have been recommending? And again, that would be one of those things too, where it's like you can obviously always keep up with the Aries Nutrition website or Instagram. He's always on the new supplements. When there's something new in the sports nutrition industry, it's over the counter. He's going to post about it. But I mean, honestly, I haven't really, I don't know. We don't really use much of the sports nutrition stuff either. So yeah.
Coleman said you can bump BPC to 2 milligrams per kilogram. So if I weigh 110 kilograms, I'm confused. Do you know what he's saying, Tim?
With what? I didn't see it. I can't see it on mine.
He says, Steve, you can bump BPC to 2 milligrams per kilogram.
Is he telling you, what did you say your dosage was?
1,500. I'm way above that.
Yeah.
I'm way above that.
Yeah. Coleman, you should have showed up like 6 months ago. He's been we're gonna have to do a new study on Steve and or fucking mooses and give them as much as we give Steve.
I got stock.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
I got stock in Amino Asylum.
Yeah. And then last one I got here is how important is it that you stay on track while on a family vacation? Yeah, this is one I think that came from maybe the fact that I have a lot of people going on vacation. I'm going on vacation. This particular person's going to Paris and London with their family. I would say, honestly, it's one of those things where I had this conversation literally today where it's family vacation's family vacation. Like the one thing I try to tell a lot of people, especially if you're a general population client, you're not a bodybuilder, or even if you are a bodybuilder, you're in your off season. Like, dude, at the end of the day, a family vacation, like, go enjoy yourself. Obviously, don't be an idiot, right? Don't eat like a fucking jerk off. But for the most part, if you want to enjoy yourself, especially if you're going to a place like Paris and London, like, dude, you have an opportunity to be able to enjoy something that you've never been able to enjoy before. And it might even be a once in a lifetime opportunity to be overseas in some of these countries. Like, enjoy yourself, but be smart. Use a certain level of portion control. You know what I mean? Share, something that you want to try with your significant other by splitting it in half or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of ways to be able to work around, the idea of eating what you want while you're on vacation, or trying things that you want to try while you're on vacation without completely and totally overdoing it. But at the same time, like, you can enjoy yourself. I talk a lot about myself going on vacation sometimes and the things that I do when I'm on vacation. But you got to remember, I have 3 kids. I'm going to Disney World again, like I do every single year, over and over and over again. Like, there's not a lot of good food in Disney World. You know what I mean? So for me, I would genuinely and honestly rather bring my little fucking 6-pack cooler that has these little tiny Tupperwares that I can eat. And if anything, I always lose weight when I go on vacation because, well, for one, my 6-pack bag is really small and the Tupperware is really small. So I'm naturally eating less per meal. I'm also, my movement goes way up, right? So like that does happen to me. But at the end of the day, which could be a problem when I'm if I were in off season, like I had been before going to Disney World. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, again, I feel better when I'm eating that food. So it allows me to be more kind of present. I'm not fucking gassy, bloated, fucking worrying about walking around in 80-degree weather in Disney World with my ass cheeks getting sweaty and having to sit on a public toilet. Nobody wants that. You know what I mean? I'm gliding all over the place. It's just not fun. Single ply toilet paper. Like, come on, dude. Vienna knows what I'm talking about here. But It's just one of those things where, again, I genuinely feel better being able to sit down at some of these restaurants that we're going to go to. And while my kids are eating grilled cheese and French fries and they're doing what they want to do, I get to be able to actually enjoy something instead of walking away from that table feeling, like I said, gassy, bloated, or just honestly unfulfilled in a lot of cases too, So again, I think some people hear me talk about it and they think that there's some sort of, I don't do it. And then again, I'm also going to eat a shit ton of like Gideon's cookies and other stuff that I typically wouldn't eat too. Again, I enjoy the way I feel better when I'm on vacation, if I'm eating certain things that are reminiscent of what I eat on a regular basis. That's all.
When are you going to Disney World?
We're going I'm off the week of, I think it's the 3rd through the 9th, but technically we're going that weekend to the following weekend. So the 1st through the 10th.
November?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Nina's parents are going, I think, right around then.
Everybody is. It's literally the busiest time of the year. I have no idea why we chose to do that.
You know who's not? I and Marina. Because we know better.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. You guys are losers.
We know better.
You guys don't know what good time, what a good time it is.
Sounds
you guys
like a horrible
are missing
time,
out.
actually.
No, it would be you would have a fantastic. Well, you probably would. I mean, you kind of whine and complain about everything, so you definitely whine and complain when you were there. But like, you would also enjoy it to the highest degree possible. You would have fun if you came with us. You'd have a blast.
Who, me or
True.
But everybody.
Oh, I would still.
Anybody.
I would still fucking bitch.
Oh yeah, I would bitch and moan.
I don't think so. I think you guys have a great. I think you guys have a great time.
Blasted by a hurricane right now.
I'm gonna get blasted every single day. And it's gonna
drink around the world, Steve. I'm going at the end of the month.
See, that's what I'm saying. Drinking around the world. See, now we're talking about it's a great time. ECC team vacation at Disney.
Justin's
going to be there. We're going to get hammered.
Justin
and I are going to get hammered. I'm going to give Justin a little microdose here, a little microdose there. We're going to be drinking a little here, drinking a little there. It's going to be a great time. Great time.
Tim, you gotta send some people to Universe next year.
Why? What are we doing there?
It's just going to the show. We're going to have a good amount of people. So you got to have a good amount of people too.
When you're talking vacation, I heard Universal, which is like,
oh yeah. If I went to Disney, I'd have to go to Universal. But
Universal's okay.
Marina's
Disney's where it's at.
Marina's going to have to do Universe or something next year.
Funny.
Yeah, all we got to do is get her to start being a bodybuilder again.
Yeah, I'm
Just
barely.
give her some trend.
I'm like 138 pounds. I just flip around in the gym sometimes, and I walk my dog.
Between Marina and I think we've worked out a total of fucking 12 times in the last 2 months.
That would be so accurate.
I'm still working my way back. I've actually been pretty good. I've trained at least 3 times a week for the last like 3 weeks. No, that's not true. Actually, that's not true. But I've trained pretty consistently the last like 3 or 4 weeks now. where I'm going as much as I can. There was a week there where I was in the ER and like, what was that last week where I went like once? Yeah, but whatever. Outside of that, I've been pretty good with getting in. I'm still sore as hell. I'm still doing upper body and lower body separately and just kind of switching back between the two. But I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling
I
like
went
it might stick this time.
I went to my like apartment, my new apartment fitness center like 2 or 3 times since I've been here, and I've been here for 2 weeks, but I haven't gotten a gym membership, so that says enough. But I will be getting one.
I had somebody came up to me because they saw my shoes, the ECC sneakers, and they were like, you're like, I saw like you work with my friend, saw you on Instagram, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and I felt the need to immediately, like, I was so self conscious the weight that I was pushing that I felt the need to immediately blurt out like, been to the gym in 5 months. It's just so it's like not filling out my t-shirt. I'm pushing like fucking 4 plates on the leg press and looking like I'm dying. Like
you're pressing more on the leg press than me right now.
Yeah, because you had a fucking
that's a really bad comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
I told my PT last week, I'm like, so I think I'm done with PT. I'm going to be done next week at 12 weeks, just because there's literally nothing for me to do in the PT office anymore.
Yeah.
They strapped the 15-pound weight to my ankle, and they're like, do leg extensions. I'm like, all right, I could do like 52 of these. Like, what are we doing here? But I'm on the hip press. I'm up to plate for 15 reps. So
I just gotta take it slow.
Yeah, for sure. I should November 1st, I see the doctor. That's 16 weeks. So I think he's gonna clear me then to start like actually doing like squat machines, just starting with the machine where he's comfortable with like me loading my body weight. I mean, I am squatting ass to grass like with my body weight in PT. So we'll see. I'm still obviously pumping the peptides in my knee every night. So
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, I can't. I told the PT last week. He's like, yeah, like you're not really getting. Because my buddy Dave, he's like, you're not really feeling anything here anymore. I am like, dude, I can't wait to be buried under like 900 pounds on a leg press.
Right.
I really can't.
Yeah. Now you just got to give it time, man. Work your way back in there.
Yeah, it's coming though. Tomorrow's 11 weeks already since the surgery. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what else you got?
That's it for me. I'm done.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Well, anyway, you got to send some people to Universe next year. So I don't know, Riley, whatever you got to do, start fucking Steve's leg press and hack squat. Yeah, those things are fucked.
If and when I compete again, I will never do Universe.
Why?
We can talk about that offline.
Fair. No, I think I'm gonna like if Brandon doesn't do nationals, he'll do Universe because he could do Masters. He'll be light heavy, and then Matt Feldman's gonna be a middleweight there, and then Jackie's gonna do figure. So I'll have those three there, and then Scott, who did it this past year, he's gonna be 60, so I'll do the 60 class. So
nice.
I'll probably have those four, and if Justin, if they have the men's wellness, then Justin will do that there.
Well, we have Michelle is going to be set to compete probably before. So that, if anything, that would be a secondary show for her. So she'll probably
what would she do prior?
Junior Nats is the one that's immediately prior, right?
Yeah, so that's what Justin's going to do in Miguel. So we'll probably
we'll do Junior Nats and we'll do Universe. Yeah,
I'll do men's wellness with Justin. Riley, you got the quads for it, dude. Justin, he just trains like a bitch. So always asking me for buffin muffins and fucking sushi.
That's what happens when you're training Paramount.
I don't even know what that is. What is that, a gym?
The gym that Justin trains at. I'm the only busting his balls. I've been there like 2 years.
Yeah, no, I guess that's it.
No, that's it. All right, let's sign off. We got to hop on a call, Marine.
Thank you everyone for listening to today's episode. We'll catch you guys next week.